Hello, Free Spirit Beaders. This is your host, Kristen Fagan, here for the Free Spirit Beading series on Softlex Company's YouTube channel. Thank you guys for being here today. I've missed you. It's been about a month, I think, since I've been on live here on YouTube. I went down to Tucson, Arizona in February, the beginning of February, and I helped out in the Softlex Company booth. To those of you that stopped by and said hello, it was great to see you. Wonderful to see your smiling faces and get to talk to you directly and help you out with your Softlex beading jewelry making needs. And for those that didn't get down to Tucson, James and I were both there. We took turns. He was there the first half of the show and I was there the second half of the show, and we did some live videos straight from the To Be True Blues show in Tucson. So that was a lot of fun. I know that we are moving those. We did them live on Facebook on the Softlex Company Facebook page, so you can always check them out there on the video tab. But we are moving them over. We've moved over, I think almost all of them. They might all be over by now here on Softlex Company's YouTube channel, so you can find them there as well. I also did a walk through the show, which was a lot of fun. I spent about 20 minutes walking through the To Be True Blue show in the grand ballroom area to give you guys a glimpse of what it's like to be at a bead show. I don't think we're moving that one over to YouTube, so you may have to go check that one out on Facebook at Softlex Company's page over there. So happy to be back. If you're here, say hello. Let me know that you can hear me okay. I haven't set up my cameras in quite a while, so let's make sure that everything is working properly before I get started. Let me see, I can see if I have some comments over here on my computer. Hope you guys are all staying warm. We've had some crazy cold weather here in Arizona. We even got some snow in the metro Phoenix area, which never happens. And maybe if we do get snow, it's like just a little dropping and nothing sticks. No, we had snow, like there was snow on all the mountains. It was pretty wild. So I hope you're warming up in your neck of the woods as well. And today we're going to be working on some craft wire earrings. I haven't seen any comments come through. So Softlex Company, Damien, if you're here, will you just say hello so I can make sure that the comments are working? I know there has been a time in the past where they were accidentally turned off. Let me see. And it looks like they're on right now. So I just want to make sure that we are all good. Oh, hi, Kristen from Softlex Company. That's Damien here today helping us out. Thank you. He will be sharing some links to the products we talk about and helping to answer any questions that I may miss. But feel free to ask your questions on the chat. I will try and catch them as I'm working. And if I miss them, hopefully Damien can help out, or I can go back after the video and answer some questions. So today we're working on some rectangle craft wire earrings. They're what I've got in right now. And they're just gonna be a simple little rectangle design with some beads at the bottom. Nice modern geometric look. We have a great sale going on right now. It ends tomorrow night, where you buy a nylon jaw plier and you'll get a free spool of Softlex craft wire in our 20 gauge, which is what we're gonna be working with today. So now that no comments are working, everything seems okay, I'm gonna turn you guys down to my beading table and we'll get started. Okay, so I've got quite a few tools here that I'm working with today. Like I said, we're doing a special with the nylon jaw pliers, and that's what these are right here. These are a must-have tool if you're working with wire work. They are going to take your wire and straighten it coming off the spool, smooth it out, and you can even use them to like slightly work harden your wire. So I'm going to show you guys how to use that today. You purchase one of these and you will get a free 20 gauge spool of our gold, our silver plated gold color. I don't have that one in my stash to show you, so I'm going to be working with smoky quartz today. But I have a few other colors I can show you in our 20 gauge just so you have an idea. We are going to be working with a burr cup that'll help file our ends. You can also use a metal file if you have one of those. I have a little trio of wire working tools. This is a round nose plier. So you'll see it's round all the way around. This is a flat nose plier, which has straight edges. So this is going to help us make our rectangle. And this is a chain nose plier, which is tapered at the end, flat on one side, and then tapers down. And it's got a little more of a curve on the sides here than the flat nose does. If you don't have a flat nose plier, you can use a chain nose plier for a similar effect. But I'm going to be using the flat nose plier for this design today. And I'm also going to be using the Loop Right wire looping tool. This tool has little markings from 2 millimeter all the way up to 8 millimeter. So I really like to use this when I'm making consistent loops. And since I want my earrings to have the same loop on each side, I'm going to use this looping plier instead of my round nose plier. But if you don't have one of those, you're welcome to use something like this. I will just show you guys how this one works on the video. And then last I have cutters. And you can use any wire cutters. These are my Softlex Professional wire cutters. And I also have this set of nylon blocks, which is called a wire whacker. If you have a hammer, you can use that also. A nylon tipped hammer is what's needed for working with our colored craft wire. If you don't have a nylon tipped hammer, you can place your design in between and then hammer on top, and I'll show you guys that. And that way you can protect your design. Just make some room here. So these are the earrings that I have in right now, and they are just a little rectangle with some beads at the bottom. I actually used the peridot wire for this particular earring, and I used these really pretty recycled glass beads. These I got from a company called goodybeads.com, and they are about 8 millimeter square beads made from recycled glass. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut off about 5 inches of wire from my craft wire spool. And you can see when you take the wire off the spool, it's very bumpy and crinkly. And this is where your nylon jaw pliers come in handy and just straighten it out like magic. So I'm going to grab my chain nose pliers and I'm just going to hold one end of the wire. Move some tools over. And then I'm going to grab the wire between my nylon jaw pliers and smooth it out. And you'll see already what a difference that makes. So I'm just going to do that a few more times. And this even works if you're working, I'm just going to twist my wire the other way and do it. This even works if you're working with wire and you've made a little boo-boo, as long as it's not too deep of a bend, you can then use this tool to straighten your wire back out and start again instead of scrapping the wire altogether. So if you're not familiar with Softlex Company craft wire, it is a really high quality, permanently colored copper wire. So there's a hard copper core in here. It is resistant to scratching, peeling, and marring, and that is due to the special enamel process that is used to coat the wire. This enamel process also makes the wire hypoallergenic. The only one, and it also stops it from tarnishing, so it won't tarnish, with the exception of the bare copper wire. That's the only one that doesn't have an enamel process on top. So now I've got a really nice, smooth, straight wire, thanks to my nylon jaw pliers. And what I did was I took a notebook and I just drew out my shape that I wanted to follow. So I've got I'm using 4 rows in this notebook. It's approximately 1.5 inches. It's just a little bit shy of 1.5 inches. And then I did a 1/2 inch for the width. And then we'll have a little loop at the top. And this is letting, you know, there's a little 1/4 inch tail that comes up there. So first, I'm gonna come back and grab my Loop-Right looping pliers. I've got a little sun coming in. And I'm just gonna go to this first little line here. That is the 2mm loop. I'm gonna grab the wire between my pliers right where it meets there and give it a twist all the way down, just like that. Then I place this back in there, twist it back, and then close it so that, and I'm actually gonna pick up my little round nose plier just to tighten it in there. I'm gonna grab my chain nose plier. I'm gonna hold this loop and just straighten it one more time with my nylon jaw pliers. So I've got my little loop just like that. Now I'm gonna take my notebook. I'm gonna position my wire. I'm just gonna let the loop go above that line. Actually, I'll move it down just a little bit so that this line here is connecting right through the middle of that loop. Then I'm gonna grab my flat nose pliers. I'm going to pinch the wire where I want to bend, and then I'm just gonna twist my wrist. Make that first bend in there. Now, because this design has beads running through the little middle section, I want to string on my beads. There's one. So now I strung on my little beads there that I want in the center. Place it back on my drawing. Now I'm going to grab this corner where I want it to bend up, and oh, my wire's getting caught on my spiral there. You can just use your fingers to move it up if it gets caught like mine just did. I actually did my first design not attached to the notebook. Now I know why. Let's take that piece of paper out so I don't hit the spiral. But this gives me a nice little learning curve again. So since my wire got bent kind of funny from the spiral, I can use my nylon jaw pliers and come back in here and just smooth it back out again. Okay. So now that I've got that bend there and that bend there, I'm going to come up to the top, grab a hold of it here. Do one more straighten, just because this is going to be showing. You want it to look as nice as possible. You're not going to be covering this part up with beads at all. So you want your wire to go right in there. So I'm just going to grab a hold of this right here and twist it down that way, just like that. And then I'm going to fiddle with it a little bit. I'm going to use my cutters to chop off here about a 1/4 inch past my loop. So we'll get rid of that. So now I'm about a 1/4 inch past my loop. Now before I turn my loop, because eventually we actually have to turn the loop so that the wire can go through it. But before I do that, I want to work harden my wire. I want to make it a little stiffer. So I'm just going to lift this up so that it's not crossing over it. And I am going to work harden this wire. Hi, Elizabeth. Nice to see you from Tucson. I'm finally back in my office and back to my regular schedule. It takes a while. So there's a few ways you can use this wire whacker tool. You can simply put your design inside. This was just going to make a little bit of a bang. So you put your design inside and you take it and you smash it. And it does make my camera move a little bit. So I think I'll just show you the process without actually doing it. And I would do this like, I don't know, about 10 times on each side and flip it back and forth. So now what I was saying before, if you have a nylon tipped hammer like this, you can also just use this nylon as your backing. And what the nylon does, why we're using the nylon board and the nylon hammer and the nylon pliers, is it prevents us from chipping off any color from the craft wire. Since the craft wire has a copper core and it has a color on top and then an enamel process on top of that, you can't just hammer away without nylon. You will eventually chip it. It's resistant to chipping if you handle it properly, but if you just were to hammer with a metal tip hammer, it would chip away at your color. So once you have your wire nice and work hardened, and what the work hardening does is changes the wire from a soft, our wire starts out as dead soft, to half hard. So, so that it has a stiffer, a stiffer feel. It's not going to bend quite as easily. When you take the wire off the spool, you could just bend it with your hands. When you work harden it, you're work hardening it so that you don't, you aren't able to just take it and bend it as easily. That's why you do that process. All right, so once we're done with work hardening it, And someone even told me you can just use your nylon jaw pliers and squeeze down on the wire. So this could be an option too, especially if you just want to do that sort of at the end to give it a little fine adjustment. You can come in and give it a nice little squeeze with your nylon jaw pliers. So what I'm going to do next is we want to take this little loop that we made and we want it to face perpendicular to this one so that your wire can go in through the loop. So I'm going to grab a hold of that loop with my chain nose pliers and I'm just going to twist it around so that it comes facing this way, and then you can get your wire through your hole. And then once you're happy with the depth, the shape that it's going to be, you want to take your chain nose plier and just tilt your wire up a little. I'm actually going to cut some of this off because it's a little bit longer than I would like it. So I'll come up here and trim off a little more wire. And after you cut the wire end, it is going to be a little sharp, and that is where our burr cup tool comes in. So you're going to take your burr cup tool and you're going to file down. Just going to go in there and file it down. Until it doesn't feel as sharp anymore. Because that's the part that's going to go into your ear. So you really want to make sure that that part is nice and smooth. And there you have a rectangle geometric earring with some beads at the bottom. And you can change up your beads. Like here I used some pearls instead. And that gives it a different look. Or you can even take some thinner wire and start to bead in between your frame. So that is what I did on this one here. This one I used the vintage bronze, the 20 gauge vintage bronze color. I have my another little frame that I had did right here, close to finish, but not quite there yet. And then I picked up the 26 gauge of the vintage bronze, and you cut off a bit of that. Really about 4 inches would be enough. And again, you use your nylon jaw pliers to smooth out your wire. Just like that. And I'm using 26 gauge because that's what I had on hand. I think you can even get away with 24 gauge with this too. It'll depend on your beads as well. So I'm just gonna take this wire and I'm just gonna put it around about even. It doesn't have to be right in the center. I may even just actually move it that way a little bit. And I'm gonna start to wrap around my frame. So you get one in there, and I'm just gonna wrap a few more times. Pull it tight against your frame. I'm just using my fingers because this wire is pretty thin. You can also use your chain nose pliers to pull it a little bit tighter. And you can also use your chain nose pliers to scrunch up your coils if they're a little far apart. So I went around 3. I think I'll go around another time. So I got 4 times around on one side, and then I'm gonna string on these little gemstones. I'm working with about 6mm rondelle of labradorite gemstones. I'm gonna string on 3, just like that. And I've seen these, which are really fun when you actually change the beads you're using. So you can go up and down your frame with different styles of beads. It's a great way to use up some bead soup, I would think. So then you're gonna take your wire and wrap it on the other side to secure it. 1, 2, and again, you can just use your chain nose plier to pull it down. 3, 4, and then I just fiddle with it, as James would say, until I'm happy with where my wires are sitting. And then I can go ahead and trim off the excess of that. And you can go up the whole way. You can decide you just want to have a few rows of it. And like I said, I've seen where people don't just use the same bead the whole time. They actually will use different beads up in there to create a different interest. I have some, I wonder how that would look in there. A little add one more of something different. I picked up these really pretty raw wood beads from a booth called Beads and Honey in Tucson. So let's just see how that looks, adding another row. On our bead frame. And since these are a slightly smaller bead, I could probably get away with putting a couple more on there. Let's see. Yeah, that looks perfect. So I'll do four of those, and then just twist on the other side. I'll use my chain nose pliers to scrunch down the coils. Trim off the excess. And there you go. Now I can switch and go back to my labradorite again. I'll just show you the little sparkle with the labradorite. Well, now I want to do one more row with labradorite and see how it looks. Elizabeth's saying that is looking good. Thank you. So it's kind of fun to see how you can get two very different, one more modern, minimalistic take, and then one a little more bohemian take with using the same technique starting out. I even thought it was pretty fun when I was working, especially if you're using a color like gold, the one that comes free when you buy a nylon jaw plier. Just leaving it, the square was pretty cool too. Not even putting any beads in it and just leaving it like a very modern square, rectangle, I should say, rectangle design. You could even do your rectangle all by itself and then put dangles on the bottom of it. So there's a lot of different options that you can do after making the frame. Let's see how this one looks. 3 feels like. Okay. Oh, went on the outside. Got to go through the inside of your frame. When you're working with gemstones, you will have a little more variance in your size. So as you can see, like sometimes the 3 labradorite fit in there just perfectly, and other times it's got a little bit of extra space. But that's just the nature of working with a natural stone, is you're going to have them be a little bit different in sizes at times. So if you like something that's a little more structured, sticking with a bead that is processed to be the same a lot more throughout, like the wood beads were, would give you a much more uniform look. Hey, well, that is coming out neat. I think I'll go back and forth a couple more times with the wood beads in there, and I will share a picture on the Softlex VIB group once I'm done, so you guys can see how it turned out. If you're not on the Softlex VIB group, go check it out. It's over on Facebook. It is a group of, we've got almost, I think we have about 2,500 people, members in there now. And it's a great little community where we share tips and we show all sorts of things we're working on. We have some challenges and things that you can design to win kits, just a lot of helpful people sharing tips and techniques and all of that. Jenna says, I imagine you could also brick stitch around the outside. Lots of great ideas. Yeah, you totally could. You even can just, instead of doing the wire with the wrapping on the inside of the frame, you can take it and do it all around the outside. I've seen that done a lot with hoops. So you can wrap the beads and stuff all around the outside of the frame as well. So yeah, so like I was saying, the VIB group, if you're over on Facebook, come join us. It's a great group with all sorts of stuff going on. We've got coming up on February 27th, that's this Wednesday, we have the Purple Rain Design Challenge. And so Sarah does that on Facebook, and then everyone in the group gets to share what they made with the kit too. So that's really fun to see. I had a few other samples I just wanted to show you guys. I did another video. It's in the Free Spirit Beading playlist a while ago where we did this shape of bead and this shape of ear wire, and this was done with 20 gauge as well. So when you buy that nylon jaw plier up until tomorrow, you will get a free spool of 20 gauge wire in the silver plated gold color. Or you can always make your real traditional ear wires just like that. And that's really quick and easy to do with the loop right plier. I can show that one probably really fast. Let's see. I will grab a color. Let's try this one. I'm just gonna take out, about 3 inches. Maybe that's 4. I like to give myself a little extra. Elizabeth says, it's a fun group. It is a fun group. Everyone's so helpful. It's really great to see what everyone's working on. And if you do get involved in the kits and then you get to see what everyone made with their kit, that's really fun too, especially if you get a kit and you're feeling a little stumped about what to do, and then you see everyone else posting their designs and you go, oh, that was a great idea with that item, and that was a great idea with that item. It's just helpful to have a little community like that to do things with. So to make these simple ear wires using the loop right plier, I'm going to start by making a small 2mm loop there, just like that. Makes like the little P. And then I'm going to stick my plier back into the P and straighten it out. So now you see that the head is a little straighter. It's not as tilted as it was before. And then, let me see how, I think I did it on the 8. So you're going to take your little P and you're going to put it just between your wires like that. I'm going to line it up with number 8 for an 8mm loop. This will probably make it just a little smaller than that one. So now you've got that part of your ear wire done. And then you can decide, let's see, you want it a little longer. You can kind of come down here. And then I'm just gonna, at the 5mm mark, turn it back. And then trim off the wire there and use my cut burr one more time to file off those edges. So with the 20 gauge wire in the gold, you can make yourself all sorts of different ear wires or frames, lots of good stuff. And you can try all of our other different colors too, but the sale we have going on right now is buy one of these nylon jaw pliers, which you need if you don't have one, and get a 20 gauge spool of the gold. And then obviously we have like a whole bunch of other colors you can play with too, so you can pick up. If you want to do a frame like this, you would get the gold in the 20 gauge, and then you would pick out a color in the 26 gauge to do the wrapping around. And you can use the same color or you can use a different color. I'm just gonna flip you guys back up to say, oh, without dropping my phone, hopefully. Are you still there? What happened? Maybe I did drop it. Oh, oh no. I froze. Oh, I'm back. You see me? It did freeze. I thought I lost you. Can hear you but can't see you. Oh, that's pretty funny. Oh no! I thought I lost you when we ended, but YouTube, you rescued. I came back. I'm glad to see it. I just wanted to say goodbye and just talk a little bit about what's coming up this week. So we've got on Wednesday the Purple Rain Design Challenge with Sarah Ayler on the Softlex Facebook page. And then we also announced the new kit, the Flower Power Kit. Elizabeth, I remember you're the one with dropping of things. I'm always dropping things too. So don't feel bad. I actually, before the video, I have some essential oil called Balance. And I said, ooh, I should probably put this on. And as I took it out, I proceeded to almost drop the oil, which I caught it, but I said, exactly. That's exactly what it's like around here too. Just clumsy fingers. So Sarah's doing a design challenge with the Purple Rain kit. We will also be putting our new Flower Power kit on sale the same day on Wednesday. And if you purchase the Purple Rain design kit after Wednesday or after the video on Wednesday, you can start sharing it in the VIB group. And then everyone who shares their designs, each design is an entry to win a future kit. There's no judging on how good or what the technique is or anything of those designs. We just want you to make things. We just want you to share what you're beading. And so every design that you share in the VIB group becomes one entry. So that's a lot of fun. I'll be here again next Monday for another episode of Free Spirit Beading. And then next Wednesday, we will have a live bead sale from Mike Sherman's private collection. That's on March 6th. And then next Thursday, we have another video here on YouTube from James with Conversations in Wire. So we're happy James is back and he's making his YouTube series videos once again. So look forward to seeing that again on Thursday. He is the craft wire whisperer, I call him. So that's a lot of fun. And yeah, that's about it. I was really happy to be here again today. I hope you guys liked this new project idea to try. And I will see you again next week. If you don't subscribe to our channel, please hit subscribe so you get updates on whenever Sarah, James, or I are here sharing some new techniques and tips and all that good stuff. And if you want to check out our products, go to softflexcompany.com. You can also sign up for our email newsletter there, which we send out a few times a week, and we talk about our current sales going on, as well as any videos and tips we have pertaining to the products that are on sale. So yeah, see you guys next time. Thanks again for being here, and I'm glad I didn't drop and lose you as I turn the camera over. Have a good